I don't know. I feel like Democrats just don't understand stuff. I mean, I know they don't understand stuff, but it's really the lack of common sense in the world is just outstanding. Good thing for us though, because we have something to talk about. What's going on? Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. We've got a lot to talk about today on our Christmas. I guess it's a Christmas special. I don't really have anything. Here's what I have planned for Christmas today. First of all, I'm wearing a Santa hat. So if you're listening to the podcast, just know that I want you to. I don't know what you think about when you envision me on the pod. I don't know if you do envision me. I don't know if you're sitting around, because here's the thing. When I listen to podcasts, most of the people that I listen to on the podcast, I know what they look like, right? Like I know who's someone I listen to. I just basically listen to myself, and I know what I look like because I've seen myself in the mirror every single day of my life. But let's pick somebody. Joe Rogan, for example. I know what Joe Rogan looks like. He's bald. He's like 50. You know what? He kind of looks like me, only a little more buff. Wears more t-shirts. But I know what who's another person that I listen to on about Tim Pool. I understand what he looks like because I've met him. So I kind of, I guess, envision what these people are doing when they're podcasting. But I don't know if you're envisioning me when you listen to the podcast. If you do, envision me today in a big Santa hat, but like a big one. It's not your traditional. This is like I don't know where we got this Santa hat either, but it's really like a professional Santa hat. It has a big, fluffy white. It's almost like I would say it's a 6-inch brim. And it's very full. It's like a big one. It's like if Santa were going to wear a hat, this is exactly the kind that he would wear. Anyway, we'll get to that. We'll get to a little bit more of that here in just a minute. Also, this is very exciting. We have new battle cruisers. We have a new class of battleship called the Trump class. We covered this. We covered this a lot in our 47 Daily podcast earlier today, which you can hear at the47daily.com. Every single day we bring you the latest news from Trump world. And the big announcement yesterday, boom, it was a brand new class of destroyer called a battleship rather, called the Trump class. And the first one is called the Defiant. And it has Donald Trump, the picture of Donald Trump raising his fist in the air and going, fight, fight, fight. It has that on the actual battleship, which I think would scare the you-know-what out of anyone else. And like I said, we'll get to all that here in just a minute. But this Trump blackout is really interesting. And it really shows once again how dumb Democrats are. I mean, I knew they were. Look, and I don't want to call anyone names. I don't want to say anyone's subpar, or I don't want to claim superiority over any group of individuals. But these people are just so stupid. I mean, it's just they're just so dumb. How do they even walk? How do they even breathe? How is it that these people who just lack the common sense that God gave a turnip, how is it that they can even get online? How do they figure out how to tweet and to post stuff? It's really, I don't know how they figured out how to work the camera on their phones, because they lack just any other sense of communicative skill. But like I said, we'll get to all of that. First, though, since it is Christmas almost, tomorrow's Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day. And I know that there's a lot of people that are like, Mark, it's almost Christmas. What are we doing to celebrate? I guess what we'll do is we'll do a special Cha-Ching Chat Christmas edition today, which means that if you want to send a Cha-Ching Chat, then by all means, send your Christmas wishes, send your holiday dreams. If you want a last minute, gift idea, whatever it is, if you don't have a gift for somebody, you're like, oh, maybe I'll send them a Cha-Ching Chat. Do that too. Any Cha-Ching Chat of $5 or more will set off the Cha-Chinger, which is cool. And then, of course, it will allow you to have your message read, whatever your message may be. If you run like an Etsy store and you've got a last minute Christmas special, go ahead, throw that up there. Maybe we'll even take a look at it on the. In fact, look, we already got a Cha-Ching Chat today. This is exciting. We already got a Cha-Ching Chat from, it looks like Ernest Hatfield. Let me put that up there. Ernest wrote, ho, 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 Merry Christmas, everybody. Now, typically, Ernest follows up with he posts up some presidential quotes. I imagine that's probably a presidential quote from most presidents. Maybe not the ho, ho, ho part. The ho, 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 probably Bill Clinton said that. Ho, 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 pimp. That's one of my favorite lines from the. Anyway, Ernest Hatfield, listen, we really appreciate that. In fact, you know what we're going to do? We're going to roll Christmas style today. Ernest, we really appreciate that $10 cha-ching chat for the holidays. Ho, 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 and Merry Christmas to you as well. If you want to send us a cha-ching chat, it'll kick off the cha-chinger, which is very exciting, and we'll also put your message up on the screen. Speaking of holiday messages, I don't know if you saw this holiday message from ICE, but ICE, the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement from the Department of Homeland Security, they released a video which is getting some scrutiny. I thought it was cool. A lot of people are like, what is that? It's basically a video for the holidays, and it shows Santa as an ICE agent. It shows Santa as an ICE agent. But he's got like the full bulletproof vest. He's got the, let me start over. He's got like the, I'm going to go through it slowly. Santa's in the ICE facility. He's got his red suit on and the beard. And I'm going to be honest with you, it looks a little bit like if Tom Homan had a beard. I wonder if this is Tom. That's what I thought to myself. I immediately thought, man, this is Tom Homan dressed as Santa. But anyway, what happened is Santa's in his coat. He's got his gloves on. He's getting ready. He's putting his gear on. It looks like he's got his bulletproof vest with his, there's pouches for, I guess, extra rounds of ammunition or a stun gun or whatever it is, mace, all that kind of thing. And then the next scene is him immediately getting to work. He's on the street. There's police cars everywhere, and he is handcuffing a perp. And I imagine since it's ICE, it's one of two things. It's either an illegal alien or it's somebody who tried to get in the way of ICE law enforcement. Either way, they're getting handcuffed for Christmas. And then there's the processing area where they're sitting in the cage, and Santa Iceman is and then of course they just put him on a plane. That's my favorite. The last scene is Santa rounding them up, putting them on Ice Air, and flying them home, because you know what they say, there's no place like home for the holidays. So Santa's helping them get home. And then of course, just a very nice Merry Christmas greeting from the fine folks at Immigration and Customs Enforcement, aka ICE, the Department of Homeland Security. I think I understand why ICE is doing that. I understand what's happening. I understand why they decided that was a great message, because it's the holidays. And when you have a job that is so important and you're getting a lot of flack for it, you want everybody to know, look, you're just doing this because you love the United States of America. And we want everybody, whether you're an American citizen who ICE is helping keep safe, or you're an illegal alien who ICE is helping get home for the holidays. Either way, we just want you to have a very, 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 very Merry Christmas. And I do too. And if you'd like us to have a Merry Christmas, go ahead and send in your cha-ching chats. Any cha-ching chat of $5 or more gets your message read. And this will be not your, I think this will probably be your last chance at cha-ching chats this year, because here's how this rolls out. On Friday, we may not be live. We'll have a show, but it'll probably be pre-recorded. I mean, you can send money anytime you want, but I won't be able to read the cha-ching chats live. It's probably going to be pre-recorded. And then Monday, okay, I guess I lied. Monday is the 29th. Yeah. And then the 30th and then the 1st. So, right, there won't be another cha-ching chat Friday this year. So if you want to get your final 2025 cha-ching chats in, now is your cha-chance. Sorry, see what I did there? I did a little. Thank you. Now's your last chance for cha-ching chats is today. If you want to say, it's really like a little Christmas gift, and it'll keep us going well into the new year. All right, let's talk a little bit about this Trump blackout. Now, there have been a couple of blackouts and boycotts. The left, the Democrats, they're synonymous. I mean, that's what they're famous for. All they do is they sit around and they try to figure out how to protest and do online boycotts and blackouts and whatever. There's a brand new Trump. Well, okay. In late November, early December, around like Thanksgiving, there was one that was really stupid. It was an economic boycott. And what they were trying to do was, these Democrats were trying to tank Trump's economy. They were like, Donald Trump's touting how gas prices are lower and prices of everything else are lower and the economy's on the rebound. And they just didn't like that. So you know what they did? They tried to tank it. And you know how they tried to tank Donald Trump's economy? By getting fired from their jobs, which I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. They wanted to get fired from their job, so they decided not to go to work. Listen to this.
There was a boycott being planned, and I am all in.
I know you weren't about to scroll, as I'm about to tell you the most important piece of information of the day.
A mass blackout is planned November 22nd to December 2nd. A few organizations got together like Blackout America, May Day, Sick Day, and Big Beautiful Boycott. They did this one day last month and it was successful. So this time we're doing it for a whole week. This is a people-powered movement, and I can get behind this. It's like a pushback towards fascism, greed, lies, consumerism. Somebody said we are not powerless and we should decide where our money goes, and I agree. If you agree too and you want to participate, I'm going to explain how. You don't have to do every single thing on the list. It's not realistic, but just do what you can. And please don't comment any negativity like, I can't do this, I can't do that. Like I said, do what you can. If you feel like you can't do anything on the list, just share it. Share this video, make your own, just share the message. The first one is no work. And I know that's not realistic for a lot of us, but if you have PTO, take it. If you have to go, do the bare minimum. You're still slowing the flow of profit by doing the bare minimum.
Okay, so this was a blackout where they told everybody don't go to work. And if you have to go to work, which, I mean, most people do the bare minimum. So if you call in sick and you're not sick, or if you just say, I'm not going to work this day, or I'm trying to slow down the flow, you risk losing your job because, well, people that hire people want them to actually work. And then the second part of that is if you have to go to work, just do the bare minimum. Just slack more than the average. Because we know these people are all slackers anyway. She's saying slack less than you usually do. And if you do that, then it's going to slow down Donald Trump's economy. Somehow it's going to destroy Donald Trump's economy. Somehow it's going to teach everybody a lesson. I'm not really sure how it's going to teach everybody a lesson, but she seems to think she has some kind of idea as to how it's going to teach everybody a lesson and slow down the economy. Now that was way back. I don't think that worked because the economy's kicking. But there's a new blackout. This one's been around for about a week or so, but it's really taken off now because Rosie O'Donnell jumped in on it. And as far as I know, this is the dude, I think, who kicked it off. Listen to this Trump blackout and see if you can figure out how ridiculous this has already backfired.
This is brilliant. I promise you this is brilliant.
Okay, let me pause right there. If you have to describe your own concept and idea as brilliant and even say, I promise you this is brilliant, odds are it's not that brilliant. Brilliance does not need to proclaim itself. Brilliance does not need to tell you this is brilliant. They just need to be brilliant. Let me give you an example in the real world, and then we'll go back. So when President Donald Trump came up with the Trump accounts for young children, for brand new babies, newborns, the Trump accounts were brilliant. Donald Trump said, we are announcing in the big, beautiful bill, Trump accounts for all newborns. If you have a baby and the baby is born, then, I mean, I guess, that's the goal of having a baby. When your baby is born, $1,000 will be put into a Trump account and they won't be able to touch it, but you can add to it and it'll be invested so that when the baby turns 20, whatever, they'll have like 20 grand or 50 grand or however much the investments go up. And the best part about this is it takes money, it invests it into American companies, and it gives your child, your newborn baby, something to look forward to and something to use for their own benefit down the road. Brilliant idea. Nobody had to say it was brilliant. It was just brilliant. This guy comes in and goes, listen, I'm going to tell you something brilliant. I promise you it's brilliant, which again is something that usually when someone promises you something's brilliant, it never is.
This is brilliant. I promise you this is brilliant. We boycott the president. I need you all to share this because the one thing he loves the most is attention. And every day we're amplifying his messages. We're sharing his posts. We're talking about him, commenting about him, arguing about him. If we take all that away, we live in a world where Donald Trump wakes up and nobody's giving him attention.
Okay, I'd like to point out that he's already mentioned Donald Trump in this post. He's saying this is brilliant. We're going to boycott the president. We're not going to give him any attention. Why? Because Donald Trump we want Donald Trump to wake up in a world where nobody's talking about him. It reminds me of that old song by Carole King. You're so vain, you probably think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? Baby, baby. I mean, the irony there is the song is about whoever she's singing about. And here the irony is this guy's trying to black out Donald Trump by not talking about him. But in order to do that, he's got to talk about him.
That will affect him more than anything else. That's how we make our stance. The same way we do with economic resistance, taking away what they love, money, we take away the attention he loves. I made a poster. I did not put the People's Union USA on it intentionally, so you can all share it. Spread the word. The presidential boycott starts right now. No more Trump.
Okay. there it is again. There it is. I mean, that's the second. That's two mentions of Trump in the same post saying we're not going to mention Trump anymore. Don't mention Trump. Donald Trump hates it when he doesn't get mentioned. You know what? Donald Trump loves attention. So if we don't give Donald Trump any attention, then Donald Trump is not going to get what he wants. And that's going to be the best thing ever. So trust me, this is genius. Let's not mention Donald Trump anymore. Ready? 3, 2, 1. The Trump boycott begins now. They basically just gave Donald Trump something he loves, and that is another thing with his name on it. Now you've created a Trump boycott. And it's going viral among, I guess on like Blue Sky or wherever these people hang out. I don't even know. Threads. Where do the liberals hang out? They're not on X. I don't see them on X anymore. But now what they've done is they've said Donald Trump does not like when you ignore him. So we're going to create a Trump boycott. Great. Now he's thrilled because he has a new boycott. He's got a Kennedy Center now named after him, or a performing arts center named after him. He's got a boycott named after him. Yesterday, he named a new class of destroyer after himself. It's just, to me, it makes sense that if you're going to boycott somebody, you don't make a video talking about them for 2 minutes, right? Rosie O'Donnell has joined the boycott, and what did she do? She created a video to let everybody know. She created a video where she talks about how Donald Trump will no longer be talked about or thought about by her.
When I feel enough, everyone knows there's no reason to keep doing it and to let him have space in my brain and heart, even though what he's doing to America will continue to trouble me. But never using his name and getting him, not allowing him a seat at my table.
Melissa, very quickly here. This is why the president says Trump derangement syndrome.
No, listen, the irony sort of writes itself.
That's exactly right. The irony writes itself. Rosie, I have more of this. I don't know if this is the same clip or what, but this was Rosie O'Donnell. Again, she has a different tact. She says, I'm going to boycott Donald Trump. I'm not going to allow him to take up space in my brain or my heart, which I didn't know she had either. So that's kind of interesting. But the fact of the matter is that she is doing the one thing that she's not supposed to do, and that is giving time and effort toward President Donald Trump. And even though she covers up his name, she's still talking about him, but she refuses to use his name.
The Kennedy Center debacle.
By the way, I should point out, it's technically the Trump Kennedy Center debacle, but I digress.
The Kennedy Center debacle. It has gone too far. It is seriously unwell. It needs to be removed from office. It. The nameless blob of negative energy. It. Hold, please.
I don't know what we're holding for. So she still talks about President Donald Trump. She still thinks about President Donald Trump. She still has a place in her brain or her heart or both for President Donald Trump. Only she refuses to call him President Donald Trump. She calls him it. It has gone too far. It needs to be removed from office. It is a large blob of negative energy. Oh, the irony. Oh, the pot calling the kettle black. When you're Rosie O'Donnell and you call someone a negative a blob of energy or whatever, what was it she called? Here, let me listen one more time.
The Kennedy Center debacle.
The Trump Kennedy Center debacle, FYI.
It has gone too far.
Yeah.
It is seriously unwell. It needs to be removed from office. It. The nameless blob of negative energy.
That's it. The nameless blob of negative energy. Again, she could be talking about herself. It has gone too far. It is seriously deranged. It needs help. It is a nameless blob of energy or whatever. But that's the new. So that's the thing. All these Democrats now, all these liberals are posting these videos, not talking about how they're not about talking about how they're not talking about Trump. It's genius, according to that one guy. It's brilliant. This is brilliant. Trust me, it's brilliant. We're going to make videos talking about how we're not going to talk about Donald Trump. That is just genius. Genius is what that's called, I guess, in some sort of. Oh, look at that. We got some cha-ching chats coming in. This one is coming in from Cranky Blah. Cranky, that's a great name, by the way. Cranky Blah, thank you so much for the $5 cha-ching chat. Alex, you and our son are my biggest blessings. Merry Christmas. And here's to many more wonderful Christmases and New Year's together. Mark, thank you. Cranky Blah, thank you so much. We really appreciate you sending that Christmas message to Alex and to your son. And thank you so much for the cha-ching chat. We really appreciate that too. The Christmas cha-ching chat. The Christmas cha-ching chat. I don't know. We'll just go with Christmas and happy holidays, of course. Merry Christmas to everybody who is watching. If you want to send your Christmas greeting in the form of a cha-ching chat, by all means, you can do so right now, and we will get it on the air. Look, here comes another one. They're all over. This is Mariah 04M7J. That's a cool name. Mariah dropped a $5 cha-ching chat. Pardon me, I'm a little snotty today. And said, have yourselves a Merry Christmas. Thank you, Mark, with a lot of different emojis. The Christmas tree, the praying hands, the gift, the stars, the Christmas tree again, because 2 Christmas trees are better than 1. Absolutely. I 100% agree. And Mariah 04M7J, thank you so much as well. We appreciate everybody who supports the show. And we want to know that your support is not unappreciated. And in fact, you're the reason that we can keep doing the show every single day, no matter what. And that's the reason we wanted to be here today as well. Let's talk a little bit about these new ships, because, at Christmas time, we saw 3 ships come sailing in on Christmas Day in the morning. Well, Donald Trump has 2 ships that are not sailing in, but they're going to be built. And they are Trump-class destroyers, the biggest, baddest, deadliest new destroyers on the planet.
As Commander-in-Chief, it's my great honor to announce that I have approved a plan for the Navy to begin the construction of 2 brand new, very large, the largest we've ever built, battleships. You used to build the Iowa, the Missouri, the Wisconsin, the Alabama, many others. We had big battleships. These are bigger, but they will have 100 times they'll be 100 times the force, the power, and there's never been anything like these ships. These have been under design consideration for a long time, and it started with me in my first term, because I said, why aren't we doing battleships like we used to? And these are the best in the world. They'll be the fastest, the biggest, and by far 100 times more powerful than any battleship ever built. So,
by the way, I have an artist's rendering. I'm going to try to bring it up without destroying the feed. Do I have? Let me see if I can bring it. Hold on. I got to find my iPad here. We have an artist rendering. There we go. All right. So this is the artist rendering of the USS Defiant. You can see there it says Defiant, and there's a helicopter pad. There's President Donald Trump with his fist in the air. There's, some weaponry. Pew, pew, pew being fired. And then there's a laser. There's lasers that fire off of these ships. And then there's missiles that this is my favorite part. Over here is this didn't even have a chance. I don't know if this is a Venezuelan drug boat or a sanctioned oil tanker, or if it's, a Chinese scout ship. I don't know what that is. I don't know who that, maybe that's like, the Obamas water skiing. Who knows what's happening there. But this is Donald Trump's new battleship, the Defiant. And it is it's going to be one of the craziest. There's another here. Just look at this. So if you look at this, it's equipped with a 32 MJ railgun with HVP. Now, don't expect me to know what any of this stuff is. A 12-time conventional prompt strike CPS missiles. That's cool. 2X MK45 5-inch 62 guns. Vertical launch missile cells, which are over here, so they can just shoot straight up in the air. A 37 RMA Spy 6 AMDR 4 faces. I think that's the laser. I'm not really sure. Back on the back, you've got the flight deck and the hangar for a V-22 and FVL. And then you've got, look, 2 more 30 millimeter guns. And then, here are the lasers. Sorry, 2 times 30 kilowatt lasers. They're situated right here on the starboard side, apparently. And then, I don't know. And then all this other, like I said, that's what we got. That's what we got going on in the, hang on. Let me get back to my thing. That's what we have going on in the brand new destroyer. And look, and there's hypersonic weapons too, which are really, really like fast.
The battleships are going to be armed just in terms of guns and missiles at the highest level. They'll also have hypersonic weapons, many hypersonic weapons, state-of-the-art electric rail guns, and even the high-powered lasers that you've been starting to read about. We have lasers where you aim the laser at a target, it just wipes it out. We're going to have, there'll be the most sophisticated lasers in the world, and the most sophisticated laser in the world will be on the battleships that we're building. They'll also carry the nuclear armed, sea-launched cruise missiles currently under development, which will be instituted pretty quickly, but they're under development and they've proven to be extremely lethal.
Guys, laser ships, okay? This is, I don't know, there was a movie, I love this movie growing up. In fact, my kids love it. We've been watching it with the kids over and over again. It's called Real Genius with Val Kilmer. And this movie was about these kids at some kind of fancy school in California, and they were tricked as a science project into building a military grade laser that could obliterate any target from space. And I thought to myself, that's a crazy idea. Why don't we have those? Well, now we do. Donald Trump is building them and he's putting them on the ship. He's putting them on the Defiant. And the most state-of-the-art lasers that can obliterate any target anywhere in the world will now be on an American battleship. Not just one, but there's two. There's going to be multiple. There's going to be multiple. He's got a bunch that he wants to build. I think he's starting with 2, but the goal is to have like dozens. These
cutting-edge vessels will be some of the most lethal surface warfare ships. It will be actually the most ever built other than our submarines. We have submarines which will have, in many ways, even more lethality, and we have many of them under construction. Each one of these will be the largest battleship in the history of our country, the largest battleship in the history of the world ever built. And again, it's 100 times more powerful than the previous Iowa class, it's called. Those are the big ones that you'd see on a show. Victory at Sea. I don't know if anyone's seen Victory at Sea, but it was a classic. They'll help maintain American military supremacy, revive the American shipbuilding industry, and inspire fear in America's enemies all over the world. We want respect. We're going to have it. We already have it. We're more respected now than we ever were.
Yeah. So that's President Donald Trump saying, "Look, this is what we're doing. It's going to happen." And I have a clip somewhere. I'm not sure where it is, but he talks about how this is going to be like dozens and dozens and dozens of ships. SecDef Hegseth was also there to talk about the new Trump class destroyer.
Well, Mr. President, you're exactly right. There are no fishing poles, no fishermen, and no fishing boats.
He's talking about the Venezuelans.
Just drug dealers and narco-terrorists. And with every strike, we're saving American lives. No other president was willing to do real deterrence. That's exactly what's happening. It's an honor to be here, Mr. President, Mr. Secretary, Secretary Rubio, to talk about what peace through strength really looks like. You can talk about it, or you can invest in it, and you can build it. And that's exactly what President Trump is doing. At the Department of War, we're restoring the warrior ethos. In fact, the President mentioned the NDAA. We put into law merit-based. We put into law getting rid of DEI and political correctness. That's now part of how our military operates. And you've seen it in record recruiting in the spirit of the Department of War. We're rebuilding the military. President Trump did it once. He's doing again with historic investments today in shipbuilding. And we're reestablishing deterrence, whether that's at the border, whether it's through Golden Dome, what happened with Midnight Hammer and what Iran found out, those drug boats, and of course the Houthis opening up the shipping lanes. American strength is back on the world stage. And the announcement of the Golden Fleet, anchored by new battleships, the biggest and most lethal ever, accomplishes all 3 of those things and marks a generational commitment to American sea power. Across the entire department, we are developing new operational concepts, deploying cutting-edge technologies, and making major investments, including in our Navy. This is happening in all domains, including space, as the President has talked about before anyone else. So it's the highest of domains and the lowest of domains under sea, and especially today in sea power, that always has to be decisive, has been in the history of America, and will continue to be under the leadership of President Trump. We will make sure that anything that flows from our country and with our allies flows freely and uncontested. New and better ships will provide that deterrent today and for generations to come. This new class, these new investments, will be the types of things that for decades, for centuries, the American people will look back and thank President Trump for having the vision and the willingness to invest right now in capabilities we need today, tomorrow, and long into the future. So, Mr. President, thank you for this investment.
Thank you for the investment in the Trump-class destroyers, which will be huge, which will be built in the United States of America. In fact, they're reopening the Philly shipyards. There's some frigates that are going to be built there. They're going to build these ships there. All American built, all American technology. Marco Rubio was there to talk about how, look, Marco Rubio is very smart because he lets everybody else talk first, and he comes in and goes, I can't really add much except that you guys are all great.
I don't have much to add. This is a phenomenal presentation. Thank you, Mr. President. This is American industrial power returning. This is the ability, once again, to rebuild, to have industry in the United States. This is generational in the change, not just in terms of applying American war power, increasing our ability to protect the seas. The U.S. Navy is the single biggest source of peace in the world of all of our forces because it gives us a global footprint. But it rebuilds American industrial capacity. The ability to make things again in our country has been critical to what the President's agenda has been all about, and this is a tangible reminder of it. And I know the country's grateful for it, and generations of Americans will be grateful for it. So thank you.
Yeah, and I want to talk a little bit about, because, what Pete Hegseth has been able to do in his short tenure as Secretary of War is really boost enrollment and retention. Because you've got people who are signing up in droves. I mean, we were well past 100% of recruitment, I think, in June. Donald Trump came to power in January. Secretary Hegseth came to power in January. And then by June, we'd met 100% of recruitment efforts for all of the branches of the military. And now with this military, they're building laser ships. Tell me there's not people out there right now. Tell me that there are not out there right now young men and women who are watching this going, man, I want to serve on a laser ship. I want to work on a laser ship. I'm going to sign up for the Navy. I'm going to go to Annapolis. I want to go to the Naval Academy. I want to do whatever I have to do to one day be a laser battleship Trump-class destroyer captain. That's what I want to do. I mean, that's exactly how you inspire people with recruitment. You have great sizzle reels. Can you imagine when this ship launches, the sizzle reel that's going to happen? It's going to be incredible. Donald Trump knows how to create a sizzle reel. He's got the best social media department of anyone, really, not just any president or any politician, but really of anybody. There are a few corporations who create better sizzle reels than Donald Trump and his team. And the reason they do it is because they want people involved and excited. They want people excited and involved in the military. They want people excited and involved in the process. They want people signing up. And if you have 20 of these new ships, I don't know how many people are on a battleship. Couple hundred seamen. Well, there you go. If you got a couple hundred seamen and you got 20 ships, you're going to need more recruitment. And this is an exciting way to get people to sign up and to serve their country. And Donald Trump's, and look, it's not just the ships. There's a lot that has to go into all of these things, and a lot that has to go into our military dominance, and a lot that has to go into our national security. And it's building up the military. It's getting the right men and women in the right place at the right time. It's training them for lethality and making sure they understand what their job is, what their role is, and how to do it very effectively. There needs to be a deterrent. All of these things will add up to being a deterrent to any foreign power or influence trying to do anything nasty to us. And then, of course, on top of that, we need, Greenland. And Donald Trump has not given up on Greenland.
Louisiana, the Louisiana Purchase. He said, I'm governor of Louisiana. And he said, I didn't call him, he called me. He's very proactive. He's a great guy. He's a deal guy. He's a deal maker type guy. And we need it for national protection. We need Greenland for national protection. They have a very small population. And I don't know, they say Denmark, but Denmark has spent no money. They have no military protection. They say that Denmark was there 300 years ago or something with a boat. Well, we were there with boats too, I'm sure. So we'll have to work it all out. But he felt very strongly we need it for we need Greenland for national security, not for minerals. We have so many sites for minerals and oil and everything. We have more oil than any other country in the world. We need Greenland for national security. And if you take a look at Greenland, you look up and down the coast, you have Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need it for national security. We have to have it. And he wanted to lead the charge. So we're making him, Marco, today, a special envoy to Greenland. Greenland's a big deal.
That's Jeff Landry, by the way, from Louisiana, former governor. Greenland's a big deal. Is it Greenland or Greenland? I always called it Greenland. I always called it Greenland and Iceland and Maryland, but that may just be me. Candyland. That's how I always called it. But I guess Greenland. And I know it's Iceland. I always say Iceland, but I think it's Iceland. But Greenland, I just called. Anyway, whatever you call it, we have to have it. And Donald Trump says, look, we have to have it. We need it. We can't not have it. And Denmark can get all ticked off, and the Greenlanders can get all ticked off, and China and Russia can get all ticked off, but we have to have it. And Jeff Landry understands that, and he's from Louisiana, and Louisiana was part of the Louisiana Purchase, which he had no part in. I mean, he wasn't even alive. But I guess being from Louisiana, you have some kind of keen understanding about the Louisiana Purchase, and Donald Trump believes that's going to equate into him getting Greenland for us, or Greenland, whatever you call it. By the way, the funny thing that you always need to remember is that Iceland is actually green and lush and beautiful and has all this natural beauty. And Greenland is actually just ice, which is the irony. Greenland is icy. Iceland is greeny. And I think the Vikings did that. They did that on purpose because they wanted their enemies going to the wrong place. So they called Iceland so that people would avoid it. And then they would go to Greenland instead. And then, no one there but a bunch of penguins. I think that was the ploy. It was like one of the very first YouTube prank videos was the Icelandic people, or the what do you call it? Now I've forgotten the words. The Vikings. Thank you, from Minnesota. They were the ones that were basically saying, "Oh, what happened there? Wait a minute. What is happening to what happened to my camera? Oh no. Oh, there we go. That was weird. Anyway, that's kind of where we are. That's kind of where we are with that situation. So congratulations to Donald Trump, who now has a boycott named after him, a performing arts center, and soon an entire class of Battleship, which is very, very, very few people have classes of battleships named after them. Now, there's one other thing I wanted to mention. Oh, but before we do that, look at that. We got a cha-ching chat coming through on the Rumble. And it looks like, let me pull this up real quick. Oh, this is great. This is very generous. This is from Allie Mill, a $20 cha-ching chat for Christmas time. Thank you, Allie Mill. And Allie Mill writes, wishing you and everyone a blessed Christmas and a happy, safe New Year. Love your show, prayer hands, and the American flag. Allie Mill, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That is very sweet. And we will put that to good use, of course. And we hope you have a great Christmas. We hope you have a great holiday as well. And we hope that you and yours have a wonderful, wonderful time together in prayer and in reverence and in celebrating our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ's birth, which happens on Thursday. Well, it happened thousands of years ago, but we actually celebrate it. We celebrate it on Thursday. So I want to talk a little bit about our buddy Matt Gaetz, who went on Tucker Carlson's show. Now, this is really interesting because, and I don't think he's taking sides. I think Matt Gaetz is just being Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz is, in a way, always been Thomas Massie-ish. They remind me a lot of each other, except that Donald Trump hates Thomas Massie and loves Matt Gaetz. But there is, when Thomas Massie has gray hair and, Matt Gaetz has this perfect coif of, like athlete looking, model looking hair. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So Matt Gaetz is on with Tucker Carlson, and they're discussing some things in the past. And the topic comes up on Matt Gaetz's, I don't know if you remember when he was blackmailed. And it was a really interesting story. I'd not heard this before, and neither had Tucker Carlson, apparently. But I want to play you this clip because Matt Gaetz is discussing really a bombshell exposing Israel and some other television celebrities in this blackmail scandal that you're familiar. I mean, you heard the whole thing about him trafficking young girls, and his father, who's very wealthy, was asked for money to help people out. And it was all a big blackmail scheme. Like, look, if you don't give us the money, then we're going to expose your son for all of this trafficking of 17-year-olds. And Matt Gaetz was like, it's the weirdest thing ever. Here's him. Listen, this is a couple minutes, but listen to this back and forth between Matt Gaetz and Tucker Carlson.
It was an opt to silence me, and Israel was involved. And I hate to say that. I was shocked to learn it, but there was a consulate official.
Okay, this is amazing. So this is the charge that you were like trafficking underage girls.
Absurd. And
I don't even know what the charge was, but that was the headline. Matt Gaetz traffics underage women. It's like, oh my gosh, can't talk to Matt Gaetz anymore.
Well, for us, the shocking moment was when my father, who's a prominent person in our community, got outreach from someone he had never met that said that there were pictures and images of me with underage prostitutes, and my dad needed to meet with these people right away. And so my dad, somewhat surprised and concerned, goes and talks to these people and says, "What in the world are you talking about?"
By the way, I want you to put yourself in Matt Gaetz' father's shoes. His name is his name Tom Gaetz? Tim Gaetz? One of those. He's rich. He's like he's got bazillions of dollars. He founded some kind of health company, sold it. That's what you do. You find a company and then you sell it to somebody else for millions of dollars. But that's what he did. And so he's filthy rich. And Matt Gaetz is like, my dad gets this call from somebody saying, we have pictures of your son with underage prostitutes. Now, could you imagine that conversation? You get a call or a text message from your dad saying, hey, I just got a call from somebody. Oh yeah? What'd they say? They said that I need to meet with them immediately because they have photos of you with underage prostitutes. Like, what do you do in that situation? That's got to be the crazy. Anyway, I digress.
And they said, well, Mr. Gaetz, we need $25 million from you to go and rescue a spy that is being held in Iran. And if you do that, we can make these things about your son go away. Which was crazy and wild. We did what any reasonable people would do. We went to the FBI and said that we were being extorted by these folks with their false claims. And we later learned that this consulate official working for the Israeli government was sending text messages to Scott Adams, of all people, the Dilbert cartoonist, saying they were expecting my father to furnish this $25 million payment and that would be evidence of my consciousness of guilt.
Okay, this is where it gets, now it's just getting crazy. So there's a consulate official from Israel who contacts Matt Gaetz' father and says, we need $25 million. What for? Two things. Number one, we need the money because there's an Israeli spy being held in Iran and we need like a team to go in and extricate him. And also, number two, if you don't give us the money, then we're going to leak these photos we have of your son with underage prostitutes. So Matt Gaetz' father's like, wait a minute, what? And this Israeli consulate is on the other side going back and forth with Dilbert founder Scott Adams. So now this is the scenario that Matt Gaetz is posting. There's Matt Gaetz, who at the time is a congressman, an elected member of Congress, his rich father being blackmailed by a member of the Israeli consulate to help a spy who's trapped in Iran. And oh yeah, just for fun, let's throw in Dilbert cartoonist Scott Adams. I mean, what is this story? This is
an
just,
FBI agent.
This is the crazy here.
Text messages to Scott Adams, of all people, the Dilbert cartoonist.
I mean, it's crazy.
Saying they were expecting my father to furnish this $25 million payment and that would be evidence of my consciousness of guilt.
Okay, so
conveyed this message to my father.
Yeah,
pled guilty to the.
Hold on, so
but it was troubling and concerning.
Hold on, I skipped
saying
forward.
They were expecting.
Here it is.
My father to furnish this $25 million payment. And that would be evidence of my consciousness of guilt.
Okay, so that's the whole ploy. That's the scam, right? They didn't really want the $25 million for this Iranian spy, apparently, or this Israeli spy who was trapped in Iran. What they're saying is, we want Matt Gaetz out. We want him silenced. We want him criminally kicked out of Congress. We want him. We don't like the guy. He says things that we don't like. First of all, he's anti-war, which is a big problem. That's a big problem for a lot of the conservatives, unfortunately. A lot of the industrial military complex people, a lot of the folks that are making money, they don't like that Matt Gaetz says, let's not go to war. Let's not fund Ukraine. Let's not send money to Israel. He's not an anti-Semite. He's an anti-spending money on endless wars-ite, I guess is what it is. And so they need Matt Gaetz gone. Also, he's vocal. Also, he threw Kevin McCarthy out. So they hatched this plan to tell Matt Gaetz's father, we need $25 million or your son will be ridiculed for trafficking underage prostitutes around the country. And if Matt Gaetz's father coughed up the $25 million, that proves, in their mind, Matt Gaetz is guilty, and therefore they can just get rid of him. That was the deal. That was the drill. That's how it was going to go down. Come up with a preposterous story, demand $25 million in blackmail money, and if you get it, clearly Matt Gaetz is guilty. Oh, and all of this can be verified by Dilbert cartoonist Scott Adams. I love politics.
American FBI agent grabbed on an Iranian island maybe 18 or 19 years ago.
And I don't know anything about this person. I don't know if the person's dead or alive, but it was troubling and concerning to me that someone who was getting paid by the Israeli government was involved in a criminal shakedown of a U.S. congressman. And someone went to jail for this. The person who conveyed this message to my father pled guilty to the attempted fraud. And surprisingly, there was never really an effort to figure out what the government of Israel's involvement was in this matter.
But you know that the government of Israel was involved because this was an Israeli government official who was involved in this?
Yes, a person who, his name's Jake Novak. I think he currently works for Real America's Voice.
What? Now, in addition to Israel, it appears it was an FBI spy, I guess. In addition to Israel and the consulate, in addition to Matt Gaetz, in addition to his rich father, in addition to Dilbert cartoonist Scott Adams, now Jake Novak from Real America's Voice is the culprit. What is happening? What Jake Novak, let me show you. We'll get to him in a minute. Jake Novak, host of American Sunrise Early Edition on Real America's Voice. Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Father, proud Jew, sixth-generation American Zionist, is the guy that blackmailed Matt Gaetz's father? Is that what is this tale of intrigue and conspiratorial? I don't know, intrigue. I don't know what's going on. But wait, it's not even. There's more. There's more.
And he sent text messages.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the name of the official. And he sent messages to Scott Adams saying that he was involved in this scheme that was later deemed a criminal scheme to shake down my family.
So what
based on
happened
these
to
false
him?
allegations. He got a television show.
Come on now. I didn't know any of this. I'm not playing dumb. I really didn't know that. Have you ever talked to him about it?
I have attempted to figure out, because obviously I still have a lot of unanswered questions about why he was working for a foreign government and trying to shake down my family.
Well, what's the answer, do you think?
Well, some have shared with me their concern that this was a consequence of some of the votes and positions I took in the Congress. I represented one of the most military-heavy districts in the entire country.
I think number one.
Yeah, right up there. And I saw these wars in the Middle East that my neighbors and friends had fought in as unworthy of our best, unworthy of the disruptions in parenting and the divorces and the injuries.
Suicides, yeah.
And so I took the position that we should be less entangled in these things. And I think that really shocked a number of people who thought I would be more of a neocon coming from the district I came from.
Okay, so Matt Gaetz gets implicated in an underage prostitution sex trafficking ring scheme by a member of the Israeli consulate, Jake Novak from Real America's Voice, and God knows who else, all of which, by the way, is being communicated via text message to Scott Adams from Dilbert. And at the end of the day, one guy goes to jail for trying to blackmail his father out of $25 million. Jake Novak gets a television show every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. on Real America's Voice. Matt Gaetz leaves Congress, also now has a new television show on OAN. And Scott Adams, unfortunately, is slowly succumbing to his cancer, but still doing live videos every single day, which is incredible. I imagine one day I'll be in the same boat, just withering away and doing live streams, because that's all I've ever wanted to do. And we pray for Scott and we wish him well. And I don't know that he wants to get embroiled in this mess right now, right before Christmas, but there it is. Dilbert, One America's Voice. I mean, it's Jake Novak. Now, Jake Novak, we pointed out here, he did post a video, and he said, he posted this video. I guess he pinned it. He wrote, "No, I nor anyone I've ever known ever tried to extort anyone. Here's the story." So here is, because we are fair and balanced here on Marquez Saves the Republic, here is Jake Novak's take on the Matt Gaetz story that you just heard.
Hey everybody, I'm Jake Novak, and I know that my name's getting bandied about on the internet right now on social media, so I just wanted to make a very clear response and answer any questions people might have. For those of you who know me, you know it's outrageous to even think that I would be involved in any kind of extortion plot, and of course I never was. There was, however, for those of you who are wondering what this is all about, there was indeed an attempt to extort Don Gaetz, the father of the former Congressman Matt Gaetz, and I guess by extension the congressman himself, by somebody else who I don't know, never met, and he was convicted of that, and I believe he went to jail or I guess federal prison for that. Not me, and not a person that I know, a very good friend of mine from college, Bob Kent, who's a very great patriot and Air Force veteran. He did ask, underline, ask Don Gaetz for help in an effort to try to rescue an American that he believes is being held in Iran, but there was never any blackmail involved or threat. Unfortunately for Bob, and I guess indirectly for me, at the same time Bob was making that request, somebody else was making a demand in the form of blackmail connected to the same story. He was basically...
Okay, so here's Jake Novak's retort. "No, I never blackmailed anybody. However, a friend of mine did approach Don Gaetz, Matt Gaetz' father, and did ask Don Gaetz for money to help an American who was stuck in Iran. And wouldn't you know it, coinky-dink of coinky-dinks, at the same time my buddy was asking Don Gaetz for money, somebody else was trying to blackmail Don Gaetz for Matt Gaetz' salacious photos that Matt Gaetz claims didn't exist and were preposterous." So it's a big misunderstanding. We weren't trying to blackmail him. We wanted money to help this American in Iran. Somebody else was trying to blackmail him for Matt Gaetz' underage girl human trafficking photos. It's just a big mix-up. Like one of those Hallmark movies or Freaky Friday or something. No, it's just a big mix-up. No. I'm not the guy who's colluding with Israel to blackmail Matt Gaetz. No. Well, I'm the guy that's trying to get $25 million to mount some kind of soldier of fortune campaign to remove an American military operative from Iran. How is this people's lives? This whole thing reads like some kind of Clive Cussler novel, doesn't it? It's really
basically piggybacking off of Bob's good work, and he has done some work to rescue people in the past. But just to make it clear, I've never spoken to Don Gaetz, emailed him, talked to him in any way. Same thing with Matt Gaetz, never had any contact with them whatsoever. In fact, I've never actually said anything negative publicly about Matt Gaetz or his father either. I did, however, didn't make a mistake. I did text Scott Adams and Mike Cernovich back in 2021 about the accusations that I had heard about Matt Gaetz. I did not say whether they were true or not. I did say that they had been told to me, and I was told by experts that they sounded credible. And I probably shouldn't have done that, especially...
Okay, so here is the part about... here's where Scott Adams comes into it, and Mike Cernovich. I didn't know that either. So this guy now, I guess he's friends with Scott Adams, friends with Cernovich. So he goes, I just, back in the day, texted with them saying... hey, these allegations against Matt Gaetz, these allegations where he is trafficking young girls back and forth across state lines, are those true? Did that really happen? Is that accurate? And then he goes, sounds to me like, yeah, that's accurate. Sounds to me like that's plausible. That's definitely something Matt Gaetz would totally do. That's the thought process that he has. And he's chatting back and forth on text message with his buddies. And now I guess he regrets that.
While I was working as a contractor, outside contractor, media advising and working, yes, as an independent contractor for the Israeli consulate at the time in New York, where I worked for a year and a half. But I'm a sixth-generation American, I'm an American citizen, and I did nothing wrong. I never extorted anyone, never threatened anyone. Unfortunately for me and my friend Bob Kent, somebody did at the same time. And I don't know if there's a deliberate mistaking of this thing, because at the time I was working very briefly. I just started working for the Israeli consulate. I don't know. I know there's a lot of people who just hate anything connected to Israel, and I get it. I understand why people do that. I don't love it, but I understand. But in my case, I just want everyone to know. I've never publicly said anything bad about Matt Gaetz. I've never extorted anyone. And I never had any contact with either him or his father, and neither has anybody that I know of ever, that I've ever worked with or known or as a friend, personally or professionally, ever committed a crime like that. So I just wanted to make that clear. These things get bandied about. We understand what's going on with Tucker Carlson's podcast now. He has a right to say whatever he wants to say. I'm not silencing him, but I'm telling you right now, anything you hear with my name connected to this is probably not true.
Okay, so I love this story so much. This is the best Christmas story I've ever heard in my entire life. So Jake Novak, I mean, again, I'm trying to think, this is definitely a movie I've seen where somebody gets accused of a crime they didn't commit because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, right? Like this innocent person just stumbles upon the crime scene and becomes the criminal, and everyone's chasing them down, and then their goal is to try to prove their innocence by finding the real criminal. What movie is that? That's like 8 movies. That's it's probably a Brady Bunch episode. I don't even know. But the fact of the matter is, he goes, again, the coincidences are just so many. Yes, it's true that somebody tried to blackmail Don Gates, but it wasn't me and my buddy. We just wanted this American freed from Iran, and we needed $25 million from Don Gates. So we were legitimately just asking for money from Don Gates. We were not trying to blackmail Don Gates. Somebody else was at the same time. Oops, bad timing. And yes, I did just prior to that take a job as a media consultant to the Israeli consulate. Again, I'd just been hired as a media consultant to the Israeli consulate, and then my buddy said, help me get in touch with Don Gates because I need $25 million to free this American, while somebody else is blackmailing. So now, it looks like Israel is now blackmailing Don Gates out of $25 million. Again, total coincidence. And we can all chalk it up to Tucker Carlson's podcast is just a garden of anti-Semitism. What Tucker Carlson does now every single day is he's not sharing the truth. He's not digging into reality. He's not trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong. He's just planting seeds of anti-Semitism every place he can get. And so not only is he platforming people like Nick Fuentes, not only is he going on stage and bashing Ben Shapiro, not only is he promoting Islam, which was still kind of weird. I don't know where that all came from. But now he's giving Matt Gaetz an opportunity to falsely claim that Jake Novak was an Israeli operative who was blackmailing his father out of $25 million to keep photos of him and underage women from leaking out. I mean, you can't write this kind of thing. You can't even, if I sat down, and then Dilbert, Scott, the whole thing, it's really just an incredible story. I love it. And I can't wait to see how it ends. Oh, speaking of ending, let's end on a cha-ching chat here from Leslie Randall. Leslie Randall sent us a cha-ching chat. Leslie, thank you so much for all your support throughout the year. $20. That's a very Merry Christmas cha-ching chat. Merry Christmas, Mark, and all Catriots with a couple of trees, 2 trees. Thank you very much, Leslie. And again, thank you for everything that you've done over this year. Thanks to all the Catriots all year long who've helped us out and who've supported us and who've given us cha-ching chats and all kinds of other gifts, and who just subscribe to this channel, because that's really where it all comes from. That's really where the excitement comes from. Just by subscribing, just by watching our stuff. If you can't send a cha-ching chat, I get it, but you can just keep watching. You can share this with a friend. You can tell everybody about all of the truth, all of the knowledge, all the information you get every single day. You can tell everybody about the camaraderie we all have here as Catriots and how we're all working together to uncover the truth, working together to make sure that we know who our enemies are and how they're planning to attack and how they are attacking us. And that we have some kind of plan in place so that as we head into, look, this election season, it's going to be crazy. I didn't even mention yesterday Elise Stefanik because we just ran out of time, but Elise Stefanik dropped out of the race for governor. That means she's not even going to be a congressperson anymore. We knew that. So now the governor's race is wide open again. We still need conservatives in Congress. You've got other congressional races that are being blown wide open. There's still redistricting efforts. It's going to be a very, very loud, busy, noisy, crazy election year. And I've planted myself right in the middle of it. And what that means is that I'm going to be here every single day using this platform, using what I have, using what I can to keep you abreast of what's happening in the world, to let you know who's manipulating you, who's lying to you, who's attacking you, and how together we can all fight, fight, fight so we can save the Republic. Have a very, very, very Merry Christmas. And we will see you right before the New Year. We'll be live the 29th and the 30th. So right before New Year's, you can still come by and enjoy some Mark K Saves the Republic. But make sure you subscribe right now.